Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cam Talks Rugby. And look, diving into some controversy at the moment, this R360 league, established by Mike Tyndall, boosted by investors from Saudi investors, and the money apparently is there. Does rugby, World Rugby, do we need a shake-up? Do we need something different? So this is something very interesting because I do believe that rugby needs something different. It really does need something different if we ever going to get the game growing and getting players what they deserve, get money flowing within the sport, get the sport properly into regions like America where the money is. How do we do it? Is this the way to do it? I don't know. I don't know if this is the way to do it. I can tell you, if I was a player, I would be damn excited because the amount of money that's being offered to players to join this R360 league is life changing. Players for the first time in their life will be able to potentially retire after their career. And does that not get a player interested? Obviously, it does. It gets a player interested. You know, I mean, do players want to be getting minimum sport wage while they're still playing international or club level? Rugby's not like football. It's not like soccer. Okay, it's a sport that your career is a lot shorter. It's a physical sport full of concussions, knee injuries, shoulder injuries. So at the end of the day, these players do have livelihoods. They are interested in making the buck. They are. Because loyalty is one thing, but being able to live comfortably after your career is another. And I think that's why I tend to agree with this R360 league. However, in the way it's being executed, I don't. So the moral of the story is, does rugby really need a shake-up? Yes, it does. It definitely needs a shake-up. Is this the way to do it? I don't agree. The reason why I say so is rugby is a community sport. It's something that's built within communities and grassroots levels, whether it's playing in schools or areas in South Africa, or whether it's playing in communities and cities and towns in Italy, UK, wherever it is. Rugby is a community sport. It's something that's very personal to people. If you look at a family of rugby players, their whole family have played rugby. It's something that runs. My dad's dad played rugby. My dad played rugby. I know my kids one day will play rugby. It's something that's kept within the generation. It's one of those sports. But how do we make this sport look more attractive? How do we make it in a way that's attractive for investors, businesses to get involved? Now, look, I'm just speaking out of my head here into the microphone, and I'm a young entrepreneur myself, also ex-rugby player. I played at a decent level, but I remember even playing at that level, it was never enough to get past the end of the month. It was never enough to look after me one day. I think the next level from there was, who knows, getting to like URC or something. And even that isn't enough to look after me one day. It isn't enough to look after the current players playing in the URC right now. So do rugby players need more? 100%. But there's only one way to do that, and that's with more investment, more business getting involved. And right now, rugby's on the back foot because we can't compare ourselves to soccer players. We can't compare ourselves to the NFL. We can't compare ourselves to any of these sports. Even volleyball. I was looking the other day in Italy, for example. Volleyball. Like, the amount of money a female and a male volleyball player gets compared to rugby players is ridiculous. It's like chalk and cheese. And a rugby player has to go and tackle in the evening, in the snow, in the mud, in the wet, tackle guys like double their size, risk injury. I mean, it's a tough sport, and I think we definitely need a shake-up. But I don't think the R360 is the way to go. The way the unions have responded to it as well hasn't done them any favors either. You know, the international unions, I think it was the All Blacks, South Africa. Well, I've got the report here actually. Get into it. And here it is. Players who join the R360 Global Franchise League will be ineligible for international selection. The rugby unions of New Zealand, Australia, South Africa, Ireland, England, Scotland, France, and Italy have all said this. So the international unions have come out, and this is where their stance is. They're standing with World Rugby, but World Rugby needs to wake up. They need to wake up. We can't have, and with all due respect to World Rugby, we can't have old-fashioned guys that aren't willing to make change. I mean, World Rugby needs to make a change. We need to bring in proper investment into the sport. We need to get this beautiful sport growing. I've never heard of a sport that can involve all individuals. Individuals that are 150 kilograms, individuals that are 60 kilograms. A sport that has all shapes, sizes, backgrounds. It's so inclusive. That's rugby. And we are a sport that's still calling ourselves fairly new. I think something needs to give, something needs to change, and I do not see it happening with the current World Rugby. I don't see it at all. I see leagues like the URC trying their best to become more creative and trying things, but they don't have enough support from World Rugby. They don't have that no one has the support from enough support from World Rugby. Okay, and World Rugby will argue and they'll probably say, yeah, we finance a lot of these teams, we do this, we do that. There's no impact to make the game better. I remember there's an Argentinian ex-player. I think it's Augustin Pico. Excuse me if I pronounce his name incorrectly. But he used to play scrum half, I think it was, for Argentina, and he did something which was pretty cool. He came out and tried to make a game 2 years ago, a soccer game a rugby game like FIFA, and World Rugby pushed back on it. They pushed back on it. Like, how can you push back on it? Like even a step like that to create the game. So I think World Rugby actually wants to keep the game where it is. They don't want it to ever become like soccer. They don't want it to ever become like the NFL. They don't want it to grow. They don't want rugby players being paid more. So what sense, like now I'm 23, I'm a young guy, I've played rugby before, I love the game. Other than me actually loving the game, what makes sense to me if I'm a young 10-year-old, 8-year-old guy? What makes sense to me, guy or girl? What does it make sense? Playing rugby doesn't make sense. I'm going to go and play soccer. Why? Because if I'm good at that, I'm going to go and become a professional soccer player and change my family situation. Because I know financially it can help me. Also, it's sport. I enjoy all sport. So why not? I'm just going to go play soccer. Why must I go play rugby? Break my ribs, break my shoulder. For what? For the love of the game? So, look, we hear about these amazing stories like Sia Khaleesi that come out the township, all right, and make a change, inspire so many people. But we're going to be hearing less of those stories if rugby keeps going down this path. We're going to be hearing less of it. Why? Because we have to keep the game small? Hell no. Let's grow this. Let's get the right investors involved. Let's get the right people involved. I mean, I was looking the other day, I don't know how much Bitpanda paid to have their name or sponsor on the shirts of the Italian rugby team. I don't know how much that was a few years ago. I don't think Bitpanda is sponsoring Italian rugby anymore. But Bitpanda now sponsoring AC Milan, the soccer team. Imagine how much they're paying to be on the Milan jersey. A lot more than they were paying on the Italy jersey. Isn't that just sad? All these things, I think rugby lacks business knowledge. It lacks guys that are coming in to actually grow this game. And so look, guys, to sum it up, I know I've gone on a bit of a rant, but the R360 league, it's not the way, in my opinion, forward. I think it's very good that Mike Tyndall's come up with this because it shows that there is investment in rugby, that it is possible because he's done it. Why doesn't World Rugby look at this as an opportunity to bring Mike Tyndall into World Rugby? Because those investors that he's accumulated and created a relationship with, if he, let's say, runs World Rugby in a different way, if he comes in and brings a new idea in World Rugby, he'll probably bring that investment with him and make changes that can help grow this awesome sport that we truly love. Because let's face the reality, there's only one league, club rugby league in the world that's getting it right now, and that's the top 14 in France. But even them aren't making enough profit from their rugby. It's still involving presidents throwing money to get good players and fill up the stadium. But they're getting full stadiums, they're getting TV rights, They have the best league in the world. Don't come and say that the Super Rugby is the best league in the world, because it's not. The top 14 is the best league in the world. Let's all be honest about it. Because it has money, it has players, it has full stadiums, it has TV rights, it's got a competitive second division, a competitive third division. France has got something right that no one's gotten right. And why? Because they've privatized everything. They're allowing investors to come in and spend money and throw money on their clubs and players, which is something that all the other unions aren't doing. So if rugby wants to grow, it's going to be a collective effort, and World Rugby needs to take their head out their arse and start looking at what's happening with R360 and leagues like this in the future. They have to. So look, bit of a controversial topic today, but like and subscribe, guys. I'll be coming out with more footage, more ideas, and obviously more analysis and reactions to the weekend. This weekend is a lot to look forward to. There's some powerful URC, there's some Premiership, and the top 14 as well. So stay tuned, guys. God bless you all, and take care.